I am deeply, deeply humbled to be here with my family accepting this award. It makes me think, actually, of my beloved Bio 101 professor at William & Mary, who instilled in me a lifelong love of research in the workings of the human body. I have spent 40 years in a profession where I basically interpret other people's words, so I never, ever thought of myself in a position of speaking as myself in my own words, until I became aware of what my sister and my nephew were struggling with. Calen was the first one to become ill when he was 17. Jessie wasn't diagnosed until she was 50, and that was because there was no conversation at all about mental illness in our family. Jessie was the irresponsible one, the wild one, get a job, pull up your socks, go to school. So the journey began when Jess came to me and said, "I need your help. I can't stop thinking of killing myself." And it was a shock, but it began our journey. And it's been a magnificent journey, and one that we will not end until people are speaking about mental illness in this country and hopefully around the world with the same lack of fear and shame as they do any other chronic illness. I also am very proud to follow Lee Hood because I am actually the first named woman to have my genome totally sequenced. That was a while ago. It was done at Illumina, and they told me recently that a lot has happened since I had my genome sequenced, and we should actually go and analyze it again. So I think I probably will. I want to thank the Honorable Mike Castle and Dr. Jack Waters and their committee members. I want to thank Tom Insel for nominating us and for supporting us. Thank you, Mary Woolley and Research America. As an actress, I think it's fabulous that Mary's hair matches her dress. And I'm thinking, try blue. It's so great. We are so honored with this wonderful award, but particular thanks to Isidore Rosenfeld, who couldn't be here tonight, but he is represented by his son, Stephen. Thank you so much for naming this award and being awarded in the honor of your father. We have so much to learn about stigma. Thankfully, in Bring Change to Mind, we have a magnificent advisory committee of in-the-trenches stigma researchers from around the world that we rely on tremendously. And we are interested in devising strategies that can be measured so that we know that we are changing behavior and not just attitude. And we are going to pioneer that. We'll be going onto the campus of the University of Indiana, and with the administration, through the faculty, through the student body, we'll be devising a 4-year plan where every graduate will graduate from a stigma-free zone, and they will know what that means. And from that experiment and how we will measure what strategies we come up with, we will, with other important partners in that area, we will hopefully have a toolkit that then can be scaled out to university and college campuses across this country. I really believe in this millennial generation. They are phenomenal. And I think with them, we will reach the tipping point. That's just one of our strategies. But I want you to hear from my sister and my nephew, Calen. I'm deeply, deeply thankful for this honor, and I'm honored to be, we are all honored to be with the other awardees. Again, it's very humbling, and we thank you so much for your welcome.
Thank you all. I'm Calen. And as ambassadors for Bring Change to Mind, we usually talk about our experiences with mental illness and how the stigma associated with it has affected us. But there is much more to us than our diagnoses or how we cope with stigma. It seems only fitting in speaking at Research America that we also tell you about our advocacy for research. For us, this is a very personal issue. We recently completed a year-long study that targeted what was hoped to be a potentially medically actionable rare genetic mutation. The dramatic clinical improvements we experienced make it clear that the word potentially can now be dropped. This mutation has proved to be medically actionable, and no one would know this without our help. The study we are part of is historic because it provides hope that at least some of the rare genetic mutations that are showing up as risk factors for schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, autism, intellectual disability, and other neurodevelopmental disorders are medically tractable. Because similar mutations in the same genomic region as ours are found in all the illnesses I just mentioned, there are many potential beneficiaries of genetic advances. When I was at McLean Hospital a number of years ago, I participated in a research study that included giving a blood sample for DNA analysis. Several years later, after I had returned home, I got a call from the researchers saying they had found something really interesting in my DNA. My family agreed to give blood samples, and it was found that my mother and I had a genetic mutation that no one else in our family had, and that we were the only ones with psychotic illness. And this raised the intriguing possibility that this mutation might be related to our illness.
What made this mutation really interesting was that one of the genes that was present in 4 copies instead of the usual 2 copies included a gene involved in the degradation of glycine. Having 4 copies of this gene could lower the amount of glycine in our brains. Glycine is required for the NMDA receptor to function optimally, and there is a lot of evidence that the NMDA receptor may not function optimally in some people with psychotic illnesses. So we were given an opportunity to be part of a study to see if taking glycine in addition to our usual medications might have clinical benefit, and to learn more about how this mutation might affect various aspects of brain function. And so began the clinical trial, double-blind followed by a 6-week open-label phase. Throughout this 5.5-month period, we had periodic blood tests and weight checks, clinical assessments, and check-ins to see how we were doing clinically and in terms of side effects. We both experienced very significant clinical improvement on glycine. We stopped taking it on November 9th, 2013, and it has not been easy to have the symptoms return. This is the downside of research. What happens when the study ends? To feel so much better and not be able to continue to get access to what made that possible. The researchers are doing everything they can to get support to keep us on pharmaceutical-grade glycine under supervised conditions for at least 6 months so we can see if the clinical effects are sustained. Then they hope to try something that is similar to glycine, but that can be taken as a pill, which they think might be just as good, if not better, than glycine. The only way that clinical research can advance is if we collaborate with the researchers. So when we say that we are advocates for biomedical research, and that for us it is personal, now you know what I mean. And we are happy to be human mutants in the service of science. Thank you.